Sandro Lopez is a design professional in toys and consumer goods, and he's been doing it for over 20 years. He's worked with everybody from Disney, Marvel, Universal, Lucasfilm, DreamWorks, ToyBiz, the list goes on and on. He is absolutely amazing. Wait until you hear what he has to say. Everybody, welcome to Creative Ethos. We have Sandro Lopez with us today, and the guy is an absolutely amazing creative. Consumer products, boys action toys, girls, preschool, plush. He's been in the industry for years. Sandro, yeah, I know. I noticed that you're wearing a Star Wars shirt.
I am.
Okay, so
I
the 4th
am.
was yesterday. And
Yeah,
is it true that you started your career with Star Wars?
it is. Yes, I would have to say that my career journey started with Star Wars. So, you know, as a young kid, we grew up in the 80s and we grew up on the films, and my career, I think, kind of started there. Why did I go into this and what was passionate for me at a young age, and those kind of details. I grew up in a big family. Those 9 of us, I'm the last one. I saw a lot of different talents in my family, like those, musicians and artists, and they all inspired me. My family did inspire me to kind of nurture my artistic background. It's interesting because some of my initial designs, like when I first started to draw, I was like 5 or 6, and Star Wars was part of that. We grew up in the Star Wars age. It was interesting because my closest brother would draw. We'd wake up on Saturday mornings and watch the Saturday morning cartoons, and Super Friends were on, and my brother would draw Superman and Batman, and I was part of more of the Spider-Man era. So Spider-Man was more of my superhero growing up, but a part of that was also Star Wars. You'd see commercials for Star Wars toys and Star Wars movies. When I was a little bit older to go to movies, I saw Empire Strikes Back before I saw Star Wars. Just seeing all the spaceships and technology, and Darth Vader, I thought was a robot. It was like, that's what inspired me. Like, hey, I want to create stuff like that. I want to draw stuff like that. And, at a young age, I was, drawing and doing stuff like that in grade school. And friends would come up to me and be like, hey, can you draw me a Darth Vader? Or, hey, can you draw me like Spider-Man? And, we're kids and you just draw it the best you can. But not a lot of people could draw and stuff.
And you caught the bug from that, right? Because when you get a reaction,
bug from that.
yeah.
And it really influenced me about technology and, looking at vehicles. And as I grew older, I got more interested in developing that. And in our age, in our time, we didn't have a lot of 3D programs. We didn't have, Photoshop or Illustrator. That came much later. So you had basically pencil and paper, and you kind of came up with your designs. But
And it was all like industrial design in the beginning?
yeah, so I actually went to school for engineering for 2 years, and the math got crazy, and I was slowly probably going to drop out because I was not going to be cutting the grades. But a professor noticed I could illustrate very well, and he was like, "Hey, I have friends that do this program called industrial design, and you have a very strong artistic background, and it's like maybe this could be a new career path for you." So I pursued it. And yeah, I actually went into design. I actually started in a school in Philadelphia with University of the Arts for a toy program, but they only did the program for 2 years. And I had to switch to go. Some of my friends actually ended up going to New York to FIT.
Yeah, FIT has a toy design
Yeah,
program.
we had a more dedicated toy program, and
Right.
I should have done that jump too, but I didn't realize it. But um, I stayed and I switched into a product design degree. And, that's more like furniture and designing lamps. And, it was more true industrial design. And maybe that was a good foundation for me too. Helped me think visually, 3-dimensionally, and actually helped kind of think about things like on an engineering point and in a costing standpoint. Those were next steps that I took shortly after that. Growing up in Philadelphia and South Jersey, not a lot of jobs at that time in the late 90s, early 2000s, kind of with toy design or product.
And you were certain that was your field, like that was what you were going to go into, right?
Yeah, that was my passion, and that
Okay.
was my desire to kind of, work like on product design. So I wasn't too crazy about graphic design. I didn't, web design was just starting up. So it was an interesting time and interesting development. But you know, uh, taking next steps, I actually ended up working with a small studio in South Jersey. Um, it's called Think Up, and you know, the person there, I don't know, should I say his name? I don't know. Okay, because he was pivotal, I think, with my development, because it got me back into toys, and it was doing projects with Hasbro, Mattel, and Fisher Price. So I got an opportunity to do some
So
projects
were you
that way.
subcontracting with them, or were you a part of the
Yes.
studio?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
subcontracting with them. So I was basically a freelancer for them. And then that got my foot in the door for Spider-Man. Um, because we did some projects with ToyBiz Toys. And it was interesting because I was working with this studio in Jersey, but at that time we had monster.com. Like there wasn't there wasn't like all these other job sites to go to. And there was actually a job for Toy Biz Toys in early or late 90s, early 2000s. And it didn't describe much. It just said working on Marvel product and creating toy development for Marvel toys. So, I hurriedly grouped up some things to create a portfolio. What I think got me into the door and what kind of got me the job, I think, was actually putting some fan art at the very end of my portfolio. I had the traditional like 8.5 by 11 book, but then I brought some pieces that were like 18 by 24 or 24 by 36 that were large, like fan art pieces that I had done. And I wish I would have kept them because they were things that I did that were like X-Force, Liefeld, Spider-Man.
So were they hold on.
You know,
So were those like pen and ink, or were those painted? Were
pen and
those
ink. Yeah.
pen and ink?
Yeah. I had pencils.
Yeah.
I did some pencils and I did about 8 pieces.
Okay.
2 or 3 of them were pencils, just straight up, just pencil art.
So everybody at ToyViz, they saw that you could do Marvel stuff, and that was kind of like what
Yes.
you thought was a
Yeah.
clincher? Okay, cool.
Yep. And then, Joanne McLaughlin, Jesse Falcon, and Damon, they were all like, oh wow, like, hey, he's okay. He understands superheroes. He understands figure drawing, and he also knows technical drawing. He can do some tech stuff. And one of the guys there saw a couple technical drawings I did, and I was like, at that time, I was good enough to do that kind of work for them that I understood like how to take a 2D item and convert it to kind of make it for 3D.
All right, cool.
So
Nice.
I think those were big steps. I think if you go into any job, like looking at that, yeah, be passionate about what kind of the content is, and
Yeah.
work towards it
Yeah,
to
exactly.
show that
Like, do your
potential.
research first. Know what it is that you're going for. Do not put stuff in your portfolio that's gonna have anything not related to the job that you I mean, it's like it's common sense, but how many people make the mistake of throwing in a nice whatever, watercolor of flowers, or it's like things
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen that,
yeah, that's,
right?
if it's relevant to the job, like, I would say for Disney, if you're doing Princess or doing anything with the, like, Disney Fairies or, like, some of that character cartoon art, they might look at that and they might say, "Okay, this person's a little versatile and they can, they have, some art experience that could bring some new, direction into
Right,
the
but that's
character."
Disney's history, right? I mean, they have a history of looking at, artists who do other things. Like, classic example would be Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, yeah.
I think when he started his whole animation thing, he wasn't even that. He was a cartoonist or something, like
Yeah.
just doing, regular stuff on paper. But anyway, Universal, Lucasfilm, 4Kids, Jakks, all that. A long
Yeah.
a long
It's a
yeah,
long career.
a long history in the toy
Got to meet
industry.
a lot of interesting people
Well,
and got
how many years? Like 30
20, 20 plus
20
years.
plus years, right? I mean, that's a huge body of work that you have, a huge body of work that you created. How many licenses, how many, products that you've created, all this kind of stuff going on decades. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I got to work with some great artists and, you get to I got to work with you. It's like,
Yeah,
it's
for
like
for
we
everybody who doesn't know, or for anybody who doesn't know, Sandro and I actually met at ToyBiz, basically starting up Marvel Legends.
yeah,
Yeah.
we actually started Marvel Legends together and, I think that was one of our pivotal points in our career, I think. We developed a lot of those early waves of Marvel Legends. I moved on to Spider-Man. I think you moved on to Lord of the Rings and
Yeah, Lord of the
you developed
Rings
a
and uh-huh.
that
Yeah,
was
that was
amazing.
that was
Amazing work.
fantastic. That was crazy because everything had to be ultra detailed, everything had to be movie
Yeah.
correct, and we didn't have reference. So
Yes.
so a lot of times, right? Because everything was so secretive back then, and the
Yeah.
only kind of reference that we had to work off of was sometimes, color copies of a
Yeah.
print. It was
That
yeah, it
were
was
very,
hard.
very bad.
It was really bad. Yeah, yeah. But it was
Yeah.
exciting, because we were there at the very beginning doing all this stuff. Yeah, like nobody knows this. Nobody knows that. That's like the funniest thing.
You remember there was a Gandalf. We had a really bad we had a really bad copy of Gandalf, and his costume looked gray, and he was actually it looked beige,
Yeah, base.
and it wasn't supposed to be beige, it was supposed to be white, but the print came out so bad that we were like, "Is this the color of his costume?" Like, and they were just like, "Yeah, yeah, just go with it." So we picked out a beige color. It's come into production, and then they're saying, "Why is Gandalf beige? He should be white." And we're like, "Well, you guys approved it. Wait, you guys approved this like weeks ago." And it's like, we got like,
Yeah.
10,000 pieces in him in the beige
Yeah.
color. They gotta like yank them and zoink them. And I don't know if anybody's got one.
It's
I
crazy.
should have
Yeah,
pulled that out.
if they got them, sell it.
Yeah. Yeah, you might. Yeah, it's Gandalf the beige.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the running joke. It was like Gandalf the beige. It should have been Gandalf the white.
We were running on crazy deadlines. We were running on crazy reference. We were running on just not make it up as you go along, but kinda. There's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, but that was fun.
Yeah.
And the bullpen and stuff like that was fantastic. Like everyone there was young, excited, ready to rock and roll and just like make things happen. And then after that, everyone picked up on, hey, toys can actually be highly detailed. Hey, toys can actually have, like massive amounts of articulation. Now it's the norm in the industry.
Yeah. And now I almost see a reverse where it's kinda going you see Super
Yeah,
7,
Super
you
7.
see
That
Loyal Subjects, you see these guys going, like, backwards where it's like, "Hey, let's go back to 5-point
which I
articulation," or
love. There's
very
something about that that
simple
I
articulation.
absolutely love.
Yeah, it's almost a Kenner kind of,
Mhm.
like, format where it's like, "Hey, let's kinda keep it this, like, retro kind of feel and look,"
Yeah.
and, uh
I mean, if you're looking at them as art pieces, then it kinda makes
yeah.
sense. I mean, it's like as adults, we're not gonna play with these, but damn, I love looking at them.
And then you kinda see, who's that artist? There's a guy, was it Cause? He's doing these, like, large character status, simple articulation, just 5 points, but they're, like, large, like, human size or 30 feet size. You have, Bear Bricks. They're doing kind of these designs that are, like, stylized and, very simple articulation again, very, and to your point, it's an artistic style now.
Yeah, it's art toys. That's what they are. I mean, toys in general to me are art, but when they're specifically made for that purpose, I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Sandra, we covered your origin story, right? Which is great. What's your creative process? Because I like when you look at your portfolio, it is it, it's technical, artistic. Everything is in there that you need to know and that you need to see to create a product. So how do you go about doing that?
That's a good question. Throughout my career, that's changed a lot of times, but the most common one is to look at what's at market and to see some reference at market to see like, hey, look, these guys are doing this and these guys are doing that. Maybe there's something there that there's this term in the industry where there's first to market or best to market. You know, or kind of like the first to market is like you're actually creating something brand new, no one's ever seen before, and it's kind of like a new style, new look, and it's you're the trend center. The best to market is more of like this idea of like, we're gonna copy that guy, but we're gonna make it a little bit better. And it's like a copycat kind of design. And you know, to your point about Marvel Legends, now you see it everywhere where it's like, you know, high points of articulation, high detail. Cost is different. You know, back then they were like 10.99 or 12.99. And now it's like $25 for these kind of figures in that kind of design work. But it's the design always began with pencil and paper. You always got to like, you write down some bullet points of what this idea or design is going to be. You know, you have to have a thought process behind it. You have to say like, what am I going to try to achieve? What's my goal? When you're in toy design, you have to consider price point and designing to price points, because it's for retail, it's for business, it's for sales. And the biggest key point, I think, part of the creative process is kind of creating that magical moment for the entertainment industry. Like, you know, you're working on Transformers. You know, what is like, okay, the robots transform, we've seen that done, and now you have Robo-Sun, who's doing like full robotic robots transforming, like right before your eyes, that I would never imagine see that today. Like that's, you know, 20 years ago, you would never imagine 20 years later that you'd see that. This is amazing. It's an amazing time. But the transforming part's cool, but you know, is there special light and sound features? Is there like movie moments that you can like celebrate or enjoy as a collector, and you want to have that piece like sit on your shelf. I mean, that's more of a collector point. As a toy point, what's going to create that experience for your child to like enjoy that toy and have that toy part of their lives that, you know, that they're going to always carry with them throughout their life. I mean, there's a lot of people that the toy phase is just in their childhood, but there's a lot of us also that carry these toys with us because it's a memorable moment in our lives that, you know, we shared a Christmas experience or a birthday experience with, and you know, we cherish those kind of moments, and you know, those are sometimes the things that mean to me for these toys.
See,
So
thank you for bringing that up, because I think a lot of people see toys as, oh, that's just for kids. Oh, that's just, it's childish. It's this, that, the other. But the thing is that it is that. It is about the memories. It is about, you know, like a moment in your life. I, on my bookshelf, you can't see it, but I've got this, it's a piggy bank, plastic mold piggy bank. And what it is one of the characters from the Planet of the Apes, right? The old school one. Right?
yeah,
I've had it since forever. My mom bought that to me, or bought it for me.
wow,
And, it's it's just a big chunk of plastic. That's all it is, and it is my favorite thing in the world. It's like, I could have thrown it away a long time ago. No one's using it. I mean, it's not a no one uses piggy banks, right? And I obviously, as an adult, I'm not gonna use it as a piggy bank, but it is a piece of history in my life. And, yeah, so yeah, those things mean something.
yeah, it's an amazing thing. Like, and somebody created that,
Yeah.
and now it's from your life, and you know, that's what we do is like we want to create something that kids or families are going to cherish and kind of enjoy.
Someone
And
designed it, someone sculpted it, someone,
yes,
came up with the concept, someone, all these things, right? These are how many people were employed to make that piggy bank.
oh man,
It's
yeah,
wild. It's like when you think about it, it's like how many people, I mean, they went to school to learn design. They went to school to learn blah, 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 all the way down the line. It's like, it's actually really incredible when you think about it.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it takes a village.
It does. Well, to create anything. And I think the development of toys from the very beginning to now, the sophistication that we've gotten to is really amazing when you sit down and look at it. But anyway, any advice for aspiring designers, artists?
Let me think about this one for a second.
If someone wanted to be a Sandro, what would they do?
Yeah, this one's you know, I was thinking about this for a little bit because artists that are on a creative journey, I would say right now is probably the most amazing time to be a designer or artist. you have a billion resources available. This is stuff that we didn't have available to us in our career. Like, you can buy a 3D printer on Amazon.com. You can make resin figures now, right at your desk, right at your house, right in your bedroom. 20 years ago, we didn't have that. And, you do have to be savvy with like some of these 3D programs with ZBrush or Fusion or something, one of these guys to kind of develop this stuff. It's amazing that we live in this age now. And, for the younger kids that don't have responsibilities like rent or like families or anything, they have time to actually actually learn some of these programs and learn some of these processes at their house. This is all stuff we learned in industry that we had to learn, like working at a model shop or working at a design shop or working on site with a company. You have YouTube tutorials, you have all these sites that you can go to now. And now a lot of things are subscription based. So I would say the younger designers, they have a lot of opportunity to learn these things with their time. As we get older, you have responsibilities with family, rent, or mortgages, and all the family, that it becomes a little tougher with time to do stuff. So we have to carve out that time. I would say, I say this from Stan Lee, because Stan Lee he always used to say this about, like, if there's something you really love and something you really want to do it and put it out there, and don't have anybody kind of say that you can't do it. You're your own limiter. So you have to go out and do it. And some will succeed and some will fail. But don't look at failure as like the end all be all. Learn from it and then try again. And then you just kind of see what steps you can take and kind of move forward from there. And hopefully you have a 20-year career and stay relevant throughout the career. And I would say that, staying relevant is probably the biggest thing that I would say to designers, is like, somehow make yourself adaptable to change, and how industry changes, and how the landscape changes in your business. That was a hard learning curve for me, because I went through that a couple times in my career, and you have to adjust and you have to show clients that you can do other, skills, and you have other opportunities and other business knowledge that you can bring to the table for businesses. So, you know, just kind of make sure that you're relevant. And also, again, we live in this age where it's the digital age, and you have these job sites and these work sites that are online now. I would say don't be afraid to reach out to some of these recruiters online. I know these guys reach out to you, but you can also reach out to them, and then you can say, "Hey, I can provide these services for you if you're looking for this kind of development." And
That's great advice.
recruiters, it's been a 50-50 experience for me. Like, some dude come back and say, "Hey, I got this job. What can you do for me? How can we do this, or how can we get this done?" People will start reaching out to you, and then you create a whole new client base, and you create, a whole new resource base as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. See, that right there, that little piece of advice was worth the entire thing. Reach out to them. Don't be afraid to do it, because right? It's like, how many people are afraid to just put themselves out there? It's a scary first step, but it's like,
Yeah.
screw it. It's like, what do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose, and everything to gain. All right. So thank you, Sandro, so much for being on the show. This is Creative Ethos with, you've been with Sandro Lopez, an amazing, amazing creative. And thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.